It's your boy Lil Lappy, live in the flesh, live and direct. And I find it weird that this video deleted the first time I recorded it. Apparently there was some type of error. Well, coincidence. Anyways, what I wanted to talk about was how we treat each other. I've been evaluating humanity for some time, fictional characters for some time. I've been evaluating the duality inside of myself for some time, and the one thing I've noticed is the direct result of who we are is dependent on how we are treated in society. I believe in nurture rather than nature. For example, I'm crazy. How did I become crazy? I wasn't born crazy. I wasn't born with all of these crazy mental illnesses. I wasn't born a tweaker. Life made me how I am today. How I was treated made me how I am today. The treatment of other people, the way that I was treated by other people brought out qualities that were in my gene pool that nobody realized were even in my gene pool. And it's deep. It's deep to think about. Had I been treated the right way, I probably wouldn't even be crazy today. And that's the 100% truth. And yes, although people did treat me terribly, I did come out as somewhat decent person. You know, I'm a loving guy. I'm a genuine guy. I'm an authentic guy. And I'm vulnerable, There's nothing that I won't say about myself. I'm not afraid to display who I am. But with that being said, we have to really think about how we're treating people and what we live in. You never know how close someone is to the edge. When you think about it, right? Everybody who commits an atrocity or commits a crime against humanity, they were usually hurt. They were usually bullied. Everybody who commits suicide, something that had something to do with how people treated that person affected that individual. Really, that's just how it is. You rarely see a school shooter who hasn't been bullied, who hasn't been messed with, who hasn't had a rough upbringing. You rarely see that. But if you do see that, chances are that that person never had, grew up in a loving and accepting environment. That's the truth. People hate to hear that. People hate to see that. And, the other thing I was talking about was that a lot of these people who end up doing these things, end up dying, end up going to jail, could have been inventors, could have been innovators in this society. That person who you bullied to commit suicide could have invented the thing that's more useful than the light bulb. And we will never know. It really just makes you think. It really just makes you think about everything. I feel like we could just, have a better quality of life if we just treated people better, And we have to demand better treatment from the government, from the society that we live in. We have to demand better treatment from them. But if we had a society that acted in love and kindness and acceptance, it would be bearable and tolerable for most people, It would be bearable and tolerable for most people. Even if America, the corporation, stayed as terrible as it is today, I would be happy to stay alive if people treated each other the way that they should be treating each other. Like, you know, my other problem is how people expect people like me to want to live in this society. Like, I don't understand why if you're living a life where nobody loves you, nobody cares about you, nobody's treating you the way that you should be treated, and these corporations aren't treating you the way you should be treated, why is it a crime to commit suicide? Like, and why is it such a shocker when all of these people who are predisposed to doing these things, like, do these things, until we get it right as a people, as a species, until we learn to love each other, until we learn to take care of each other, until we learn to accept each other, we can't be surprised when that one outlier decides to commit a mass shooting. That shouldn't be a surprise. What do you think the product of someone living in that life? What do you think the product of that would be? Something bad. It's always I hate I hate living here. I hear someone's nasty chihuahua barking outside or something. But yeah, I feel like we can't really do anything to stop any atrocities until we change as a people. And the other thing I was saying was that if we treated these people who were going to do these things as human beings, they would actually have to go against their nature, because their nature would be determined by how society is treating them, right? They would have to go against that nature to commit these atrocities against humanity. Think about it. If you've been loved and accepted and cared for all of your life, and you're going into the school with a shotgun to shoot up the school, you're going to be like, oh man, like, these people really took care of me. Oh man, these people really like took me in and treated me like I was one of them. Like, oh man, like, that would be the only thing going through these school shooters' minds. And people make the argument that these people who do these things are void of emotion, but that's not true. There's a lot of anger, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of sadness and hurt that goes through these people's minds. And that's why when something like that goes on, I'm indifferent. I really don't care, because to some degree I understand. I get it. And to some degree, I don't expect anything different because of the way we treat each other. So a lot of these things aren't a surprise to me. They don't shock me. They don't scare me. They don't make my blood pressure rise. They don't make me uncomfortable. And I think to myself, if I was in a school shooting, and someone shot me, I'd have to have complete acceptance with that, you know, because that's a change that I could have possibly made with someone. I could have been that catalyst that makes that person live in love, you know, something I have to accept wherever I go. Even if it's some random dude who shoots me at a store or something, like, that's what I have to accept, you know? And that's really how it is sometimes. You know, we really have to think about how we treat each other. it's really important, because not everybody's like me. Not everybody can, think about how many times they were wronged, and think about how these people wronged, and just say no. Just say no. Like, I'm gonna be forgiving, I'm gonna be loving, I'm gonna be kind, I'm gonna be respectful. It's hard to do that when your mind is working how my mind is working, and when you see these people basically laugh in your face on a daily basis. At this point, I've been wronged by everybody, you know, a lot of people, you know, but it takes a lot to say, okay, like, let me just forgive and forget and move on with life, you know. A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't come back from that. A lot of people go over the edge. And that's the reality of it all. You know, every time we treat someone in a terrible way, we should expect nothing but the worst for them. From them, I mean. And every time we treat someone how they're supposed to be treated, the chances of that person doing wrong go down. And the chances of that person doing right, doing wonders for the world, favors for the world, increases tremendously. We just got to think about that. I'm not saying to baby everybody, because they're probably going to come back and shoot you. But we should want to be kind for the sake of being kind, because that's what made us human in the first place. That's what got us here, you know. We wouldn't have this, if we didn't nurture people, if we didn't treat people with respect. We didn't treat people with love and kindness and fairness and acceptance. We need to. Something we should do, you know. So, even if I didn't change your mind, even if you don't care, all 7 people watching this, I just think about it. Just consider what I said, because you never know how it could go.